How I feel?
Yeah,
I
you were
feel
listed
good. I'm
yesterday
excited.
like you would have had limited practice with a hamstring injury.
Oh no, I feel good. I'm excited.
No chance. So, you have no doubt that you're going to play, obviously.
Yeah, never a doubt. Never a doubt.
In a season, it's going to be a lot of firsts. Does a first game against a division opponent and a Giants rival mean anything, or is it just the next game?
I mean, obviously, divisional games, they hold a little more weight. Obviously, understanding the history of this matchup and the intensity of it carries weight as well. So I'm really just excited to get out there on the field, Thursday night and have a lot of fun competing, and yeah, it's going to be a really cool environment.
Do you know the history of it? I mean, I'm sure they didn't quiz you on it. I mean, is it something you go back and look at? I mean, how much do you know as a young man?
I mean, I don't know like a ton. I'm a little naive to it, just me being from the West Coast and whatnot. But obviously, you understand growing up, what rivalries are in the National Football League, and then at the same time, you hear, New York, New Jersey people, and how they feel about Philadelphia people, and vice versa. So, I definitely, have kind of gotten more accustomed to that, from my time being here.
Jaxson, you talk about your first game when you had your first start. It was, well, we don't have a lot of tape on him, but now that you've played 2 games, I would imagine maybe defensive coordinators, especially like this week, may look to throw some different things at you based on what you've shown. Do you think you guys are in a position now, even on a short week, to kind of adapt to what you've seen and maybe change some things that you've done already?
Well, you definitely have to. I mean, each and every week, for everybody around the league, there's going to be different matchups, different schemes that they bring against teams. So that's definitely not out of the ordinary. And I think that, every single week there's going to be something new that you haven't seen before. And you just got to be able to go back to the sideline, be able to adjust. And, just like us, they have really good players, really good coaches. So, you might get got on a play, and you got to be able to make the adjustments for the next series.
At the Combine, I believe you talked about how much you look up to Jalen Hurts. You studied his game, right?
Yeah.
Can you take us through kind of what that's like for you, just watching him, what you learned from him?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I love his mentality. His every day, accountability of himself, and at the same time, raising the bar for his teammates. So that was something, as an early, college player, being able to look up to guys like that. So it's going to be, really cool to be on the same field with him and being able to compete against him, and at the same time, him just being a really good competitor, and being able to do a lot of things, with his arm and with his legs, and putting his team in really good situations to win.
How much did you talk to Dable about him? Because obviously Dable worked with him in college briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely had conversations. I probably had more conversations about it when I was in the draft process of, him kind of asking me, what quarterbacks do I like to watch and see how they play. And obviously he had that connection. So there was definitely, conversations of that in the pre-draft.
What do you think makes Hurts the winner that he is?
Yeah, I mean, he's able to rally the guys around him. I think that, just kind of the culture that they've built, like regardless of them being in, really tight games, I think that, in those situations, it comes down to the leaders of the team, and him being able to, go through adversity, during games, during a season, and then just being able to rally the guys. I think that was something that really stood out to me.
How have you responded to your adversity in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, this was, my first loss in the NFL, and, if we're just being realistic, it's not going to be, my last. Obviously, you don't want those things to happen, but it's just the part of the game. So, just trying to, come back, identify the things I need to work on. At the same time, being able to, see things I did well, and then try to carry those over to the next week. And, just the communication with the guys, and trying to just, keep the confidence high with the players on the team, and us being able to go out there and execute when we need to.
Jaxson, you've been able to start fast in both your starts. Is that something about the first script, the first series, your adrenaline, the execution? What anything about that? Because then later in the game, sometimes it's hard to maintain all that.
Yeah, I think that just kind of happens in the NFL. Like, there's a lot of times where teams will score on their first drive because a lot of times, schematically, there's new things that you just haven't seen yet. And it's not out of the norm for, the game to kind of slow down, with guys and teams making adjustments. It's what makes us, the best players, the best coaches in the world. So, I definitely, want to carry that over each and every week because I think it's important, for us to just start fast and being able to execute on those things early. But at the same time, like you said, we got to continue to make adjustments, clean things up, and take care of the ball throughout the whole game.
The second interception where Collins kind of stopped, how do you, when you watch that back on film, how do you stay confident in each other to make the throw the next time? Because really you're just kind of throwing to a spot there. What is that process like, kind of dissecting a play like that after the fact?
Yeah, Bo's a really good player, and he's done a lot of really great things. Obviously, me and him are just new to this still. So, there's definitely, communication things that we got to clean up. And I think that showed in that instance. And, just as much as, me making a mistake and cleaning it up for him and him making a mistake and cleaning it up for me, those things happen. And you just got to be able to, have those conversations, be able to see it through the same lens. So, obviously, in game, it definitely, is highlighted. But at the same time, I think, for us, just being young and being able to clean up on those things early.
We'll take a few more.
How have you and Theo really built your relationship? It seems like you're getting comfortable with him on the field.
Yeah, Theo, I've been high on Theo since I really played against him in college. We played in the Peach Bowl and he had a touchdown. And, I think just as a player, as a competitor, you're able to, see guys who, do a lot of really good things, even if they're on a different team. So I've known about him since college. And obviously, what stood out initially was, his combine numbers and, just how athletic he was. So I was really excited coming in here to, be able to be on the same field with him. And, he's been nothing but, just hardworking and a guy who you can really trust out there on the field. So I look forward to, continuing to develop our timing, our relationship with each other. And, just excited to be able to play with him for a long time.
How excited are you to return to MetLife where you had your magic moment?
Yeah, home games are special, because you got, people behind your back, you got the crowd, you got the energy, and that's what makes it fun. And, I'm definitely excited, and it's definitely important to play really well at home.
How important is it for a quarterback to deal with adversity?
I think it's obviously very important, but the most important thing is, how can you respond to it? And how, you're able to make adjustments, how you're able to take accountability for mistakes, and then, clean those things up and put your team in the best situation. So I think that's the hardest thing about this game is, you never know how people are going to respond at times. And, that's what, makes the players the greatest of all time. And, being able to see, the guys just grown up, who are the best, being able to respond to adversity. So it's definitely important.